Namaste. Welcome to the beginning of another live Sangha. I'm grateful to be here, and I trust you are feeling as well as you can be in this moment, despite whatever circumstances might be unveiling for you at this time. Remember that if there are any challenges, that this too shall pass, and that whatever you're feeling, it is always a valid expression of what you're experiencing, both inside and out. I hope to be your humble host, and if I'm not, you can hold me accountable to that. So welcome. Our first guests are joining now, and I'd love to begin with an intention that I may set as this space being one, open to everyone, regardless of background, identity, orientation, belief system, ethnicity, etc. May we come together as fellow students of life to uplift each other, relate in one another's experiences, and share positive sentiments. Hello, dear Becca. Hello, dear Nia. Welcome. And dear Naoko, Gabriella, and Joel. Thank you for being here. Hello, dear Freya. Are you thriving today? I'd also love to begin with an invocation of a Shanti mantra, a peace prayer from the Taittiriya and Katha Upanishad, which goes like this in the ancient language of Sanskrit. Sahana vavatu, Sahana bhunaktu, Sahaviryam karva vahai tejasvina vadhitamastu ma vidvisha vahai. Shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. In English, that loosely translates to Om. May the divine protect us both together. May the divine nourish us both together. May we work conjointly with great ease. May our studies be vigorous and effective, and may we not mutually dispute or hate any. Om. May there be peace in us. May there be peace in our environment, and may there be peace in the forces that act on us. Hello, dear Yona. You are thriving so hard. I'm happy to hear that, dear Freya. What about me? I feel I am thriving also. I'm thriving easily, rather than hardly, however. Thank you, dear I Am Princess Mom, for blessing our Sangha with a heart me and a friendship necklace. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna, dear Susan. Hello, Kali. Hello, orange heart emoji. Beautiful sound indeed, dear Cliche. Hello, dear Charlie. You're wondering, what's a tip for dealing with difficult emotions? Go easy on yourself. They may be difficult, but that doesn't mean that you have to be. Go easy on yourself. Invite your emotions in for tea. Say, hello anxiety, or hello frustration, or maybe you don't have to give it a name. Hello unnamed sensation of my human experience. How are you? Let them teach you something, guide you to some part of yourself. They are each vocalizations of a different part of your being. Emotions are never your enemy. They are a friend that needs to be understood. And thank you, dear Av, for the heart me that you sent. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Dear Neon Jello Pack, thank you for your heart me. Om Kring Kalikaye Namaha. dearest Charlie, thank you for your trio of roses as well. Om Bram Bhairavaya Namo Namah. Dear Shift, you share you get so jealous of boys prettier than you. Any tips? Remember that you are the consciousness that pervades this whole universe. If anyone else is pretty, that is your very self being pretty, just through another form. All beauty is yours. Thank you, dear Nikki, for your heart me as well. Bhuvaswa Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Speaking of flowers, dear Freya, you share a bee landed on you today and you felt like a flower. Oh, I love that. Yeah, well said, dear Cliche. Hello, dear Michelle. It's an interesting statement, dear JB. Dear Cliche, you ask, what is the purpose of the soul in this world? To animate it. The world would not exist without the soul. The soul is the firmament upon which it is built. All things in this world arise from, persist through, and return to the soul. Hello, dear Miss Lala. How much Sanskrit do I know? Well, statistically speaking, 0%. Because even if I know a lot, there's infinite to know. And a lot out of infinity is still 0%. Or 0.0 repeating and then a 1 at the countable infinity point. Where can you learn these chants, asks Charlie. You can learn them from me. I can teach you them. Hello, dear Michelle. It is very natural for thoughts to spiral, especially when our sense of self gets stuck in our own mind. Then our own mind is trying to support itself through more and more thoughts. But if you internalize your sense of self, or externalize your sense of self beyond the mind, either direction works. It's the path of nivritti or pravriti. Pravriti means going without. Place your sense of self in the people and places and wonderful things of the world and serve that. Then your mind is no longer stuck in circles. It's going forth. It's pouring out into the world. Or you can take the path of nivritti, which is into the void of nothingness that is higher than the mind, the consciousness itself, beyond all forms. Go inward in that direction towards stillness, and the mind takes you back to source. Both are valid. Cliche, you had asked, on the path to enlightenment, how will we know we are on the right path or how far we have come? You are always on the right path. And you know how far you've come because you notice that you are more patient than you were a day ago, a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. You are more kind. You are more compassionate. There's some aspect of your higher self that has become more and more expressed through this body, this mind. And how will you know when you're there at the final level? You won't, because there is no final level. And that's because the source is infinite. And thus, it's an infinite journey. That's a very good thing, to me at least. Because there's always something to improve upon every day. In other words, you're right in the middle of your journey, neither beginning nor ending, as is everyone. Sandy and Shadow are thriving indeed, dear Freya. Yes. We should do one a day, shares Charlie. I like the sounds of that. We'll have a wonderful mantra at the end of our live streams, as we usually do. I will certainly tell my cats, meow, next time I see them for you, dear Freya. Hello, dear Lux Angel. I do sometimes get angry, dear Adonai. Can you do both? Follow the path of nivritti and pravritti. Not at the same time, but certainly we do so when we sleep. We are naturally following the path of nivritti, and when we wake, we are naturally following the path of pravritti, in and out, just like the breath. So, let me tell you about the agenda for today's Sangha. Today we'll have no show and tell because nobody submitted any, but that's okay. The show and tell submission form will remain there in case anyone is feeling like they want to share anything. It could be something they've made, a creative project, a painting, a work of art, music. It could be something they've learned or some other personal talent, show and tell. But we will have another reading from the Radiant Sutras, this modern interpretation and commentary by Lauren Roche of the ancient Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, which is a conversation between the divine masculine and feminine as they discuss 112 gateways to the yoga of wonder and delight. That'll be it for Shravana, the section dedicated to listening. Then for Manana, the section dedicated to processing our experiences, we shall have some Q&A, and there'll be a question of the day about mantras existing all around us, in nature or even in our society, vestigials of ancient times. There's no Rumi today because we finished the pocket Rumi, and if you ever want to listen to that, the whole book is now in a playlist on my YouTube channel you can listen to, taken from the clips of our live streams. We'll have a moment of silence, I think, for Rumi in place of that. Although we'll substitute that slot for some other poetry reading when I get another poetry book soon. And then we'll end for Nididhyasana, the section dedicated to supplementary practices, with a meditation. A mantra meditation dedicated to Kali. This one has the power to grant victory. And that'll be our Sangha for today. How does that sound? Thank you, dear Franklin, for the Heart Me and Ice Cream poem that you sent. Om Dum Durgaya Namah. Dear Marcy, thank you for your rose. Om Kamalyarmaha Kalikaya Namaha. Happy Easter, dear Marcy. Thank you, dear Bob Dragon. Dearest G is here. Marisol, you ask, what's the best advice I can give to someone who feels spiritually lost? You can never be truly spiritually lost because you are spirit. You can't lose the thing that you are. You may be lost as a human. We as humans, at that level of our existence, absolutely, we get lost all the time. In fact, are we ever truly not lost? Or are we just kind of going with the motions, following the flow as best we can, diverging when the path doesn't seem to suit us, and converging onto another once we find our way? It's this big rock hurling through the void, and who knows what it all means. At the human level, we're always wandering, always blissfully lost. Hello, the Matrix I am. And thank you, dear Cliche, for your pairs of tiny tinies. Yippee! You've been doing some kriyas. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah. If you wanted to share something for show and tell, dear Emily, you can check out the submission form in the link tree in the bio. We can do it for the next Sangha. You would love to participate in show and tell, dear Freya, but you cannot use technology. It's super tricky. Well, I've made it super easy for you. You just tap on the link in my bio. There is a submission form, and it's like uploading something. You can just upload a picture, or you can type something in, or you can submit a audio file or a PDF, you know? Hello, dear Franklin. Thank you, dear Lux Angel, for your heart, me. Ham Jum Sa Taryambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiya Mamritat. Do I suffer from anxiety? Asks Taylor. I used to. Yeah. Do I have any advice? I've got lots of advice. I could speak for hours about all the wonderful ways of relieving anxiety. Any one of them can be sufficient, but having a good toolbox of different techniques for anxiety is very helpful. One of the most important pieces of advice I can tell you is to change the way you even talk about your own anxiety. You don't struggle from anxiety. You are challenged by it. You don't suffer from anxiety. You have an opportunity to befriend anxiety. Anxiety isn't debilitating. It's crafting a new ability within you. You see that shift? Just the way you talk about anxiety, just the way you think about your own anxiety, changes your relationship to it. In other words, don't see anxiety as your enemy. Don't see any emotion as an enemy. See it as an opportunity, a challenge, something that's crafting something new within you. It isn't breaking you down. It is building you up. The more intense experiences you go through, the more raw experience itself you have to discover parts of you as the experiencer, the witness beyond this body and mind. Change the way you look at anxiety, and you will have a completely different experience of it. Thank you, Kristen, for your heart, mate. Om Namo Buddhaya. Dear Michael, thank you for your rose. Om Kali Mahakali Kalikai Parameshwari Sarvanandakare Devi Narayani Namostute. Dear Roxy, thank you for your heart, mate. Om Shri Mahalakshmiyai Namaha. Dear Lux Angel, thank you for your quartet of roses. Om Ram Hanumate Namaha. I don't offer one-on-one sessions, dear Taylor, but you can experience every live stream as a one-on-one session. Dear Lorem, you ask, if we lose ourselves trying to save someone else, is that still love? No. It's very simple. Love doesn't make you lose who you are. It brings you into the fullness of who you are. Love may demand sacrifices of body and mind, but never permanently. Yes, there are things that make you uncomfortable momentarily for the comfort of another, but it should never permanently take you away from your ability to be there for yourself. If you are on an active downward trend in your relationship, that your health is not getting better, if anything it's getting worse, then that's not love. You have become a band-aid for someone else's wounds. You need to be a lamp shining in the dark, effortlessly. Find that love where you don't just take care of each other's traumas. You bring out each other's most exquisite parts that the world deserves to see. It's all about what the two of you can give to each other so that you become the greatest giver that the world needs. You don't lose yourself, you gain yourself. You come to understand the truth of your being more than anybody else. That's love. Thank you, dear Jackie. Thank you, dear Grumpy. That's right, dear Celine. There's 7 lemons. Nothing wrong with being lost. Indeed. What's my nationality? I'm not American, no. I'm a citizen of the world. I happen to be born in a place north of America. The country that if I name, a banner will show up at the bottom of the screen telling you about our current time in which we decide on who shall be in office, to describe it without any buzzwords. But I don't identify with my country. I identify with my world. I could have been born anywhere on planet Earth, but planet Earth was where I'm born, and that is what truly resonates with me. I hope to be a servant of the world. Om Namah Shivaya. Hello, dear Chris. Thank you. Hello, dear Joyride. And thank you, Cliche, for your pair of sausages. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hello, dear Kim. Thank you, Lux Angel. What's my religion? Ask someone whose name doesn't render on my screen. My religion is my humanity, and within my humanity I find all the world's religions. Good afternoon, dear Strawberry Star Bunny. Hello, the little moth. Can I tell you I'm always so calm, asks Amina. I decide to be because I want to be. Why would I choose to let anything or anyone else take my peace away? I've spent too long of my life thus far giving other people the power to take my peace away. We ask children what do they want to be when they're older, but we should ask them, how do you want to be right now? And how I want to be right now is calm. And that is the most important question I could ask myself in this moment. How do I want to be right now? I want to be happy. I want to be calm. So I am. Dear Cliche, you ask, do I know of any food mantras to say before sleep? Are they magical? It's a very interesting. What is a food mantra, and why would you do a food mantra before you go to sleep? Oh, a good mantra. A good mantra. Yes, there is a very simple mantra you can do before you go to sleep. Soham. It's the mantra of the breath. On the inhale, so. On the exhale, hum. You can do it mentally, you can do it whispered, or you can even do it out loud. Soham. It comes from the Sanskrit saha, meaning that, and aham, meaning I am. So soham means that I am. And if you're curious why saha and aham join to make the sound soham, it's due to grammatical rules called sandhi, that the visarga at the end of saha and the akara at the beginning of aham, they form the okara. So when the words are joined together as one, it's soham, that I am. I love that, Susan. Your peace is everything. Dear Roxy, you share your dad just yelled at you for listening to me, so you removed yourself. I'm sure he's fun at parties. I'm sorry to hear that. I have some hand symbols in my hands, dear Gabriel. They make a lovely sound, don't they? I love that, Laura. Your dad loves meditation. Sounds like he needs to do more of it. It's not working yet. Keep going. Dear Grace, happy Easter. You ask, do I believe in God? I believe in you. The source goes by many names, and many traditions, and many cultures, and many religions, and many belief systems. Regardless of what name we give the source has given rise to you. I believe in you. You carry part of that source with you. I revere that. Thank you, dear Rahina, for your heart, me. Om Narayanaya Vidmahe Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat. Of course, dear Mina. I think your mango ashwagandha tea will serve you well, dear Kim. Can I translate this one into that language? I am who I am. That is more than enough. I wouldn't know how to translate that into Sanskrit, but I know who would. ChatGPT! ChatGPT is one of the foremost scholars of Sanskrit on the internet. This is true. How would you say, I am who I am, and that is enough in Sanskrit as a mantra? We'll let it think for a moment. Thank you, your little moth, for your heart me. Ham Ham Hanumate Rudhuratmakaya Hom Phat Swaha. Thank you, dear Alberto. Happy Easter. I shall get back to you. I'm sorry to hear that, dear Roxy. Meditation should always be one that brings us into the fullness of our being. This doesn't mean taking us away from the world. In fact, we can get closer to the world through meditation. Alright. ChatGPT has thought about it. Yoham Soham Alam Me Tat. That's beautiful. It has Soham in that. That I am. Om, of course, is the primordial vibration, the traditional mantra opener. Yoham comes from Yah, meaning who, and Aham, I am. So who I am, Yoham, and then Soham, coming from Sa, that, and Aham, I am, that I am. Then there is Alam, meaning enough, sufficient. Me, for me. Tat, that. So the loose English sense is, I am exactly who I am. That alone is sufficient for me. Again, that's pronounced Yoham Soham Alam Me Tat. I think you could do that without the Om too. Yoham Soham Alam Me Tat. Yoham Soham Alam Me Tat. I can copy and paste the International Alphabet of Sanskrit transliteration in chat. You may see it as a comment there. I'll also put the Devanagari. Yoham Soham Alam Me Tat. That's wonderful. I'm glad we had a chance to ask ChatGPT that. I like it too. Yeah. Thank you, dear Petty. I just called you Petty. I forgot to read the R in pretty. Thank you, Pretty in Ink. Or Petty in Ink. Thank you, dear Dragon's Wrath, for your heart me and pair of roses. You're trying so hard to do the show and tell thing, dear Freya. You will succeed. I'm glad you believe in yourself. You will succeed. Okay, let's continue reading from where we left off in the Radiant Sutras, shall we? As always, I'll chant the Sanskrit verse, then read the English interpretation, and then we'll pick out a single word of that Sanskrit verse and use that as the seed for the practice. This is the 19th yukti, one of the 112 gateways to the yoga of wonder and delight, and the 42nd verse overall. The answer to life, the universe, and everything. 42. Pindamantrasya sarvasya sthula varna kramena tu ardhendu bindu nadanta shunyo charad bhavet shiva. Bodies feed on sound. sonic waves on inner waves. Sonic waves on inner waters. Nourish every nerve. Vibration strengthens bones. Ecstatic undulation awaits you. Take a bite of crunchy K, slippery S, a rugged R. Enjoy a yummy vowel, ah, e, o, or oo. Throw it in a bowl of Treasure the impact on your tongue. Krim, shrim, ram, yum, hrim, lam. Pronounce the sound out loud, then whisper softly. Now hear with your inner ear. Allow the resonance to enchant you within. The sound goes on resounding, continuing of itself as the hum dissolves into silence. Be nurtured in the tenderness of infinite space. The word of the verse is mantra. M-A-N-T-R-A. Mantra. What does mantra mean in Sanskrit? Mantra means an instrument, tra, of thought, mantra. Speech, sacred text or speech, a prayer or song of praise, a Vedic hymn, a sacred formula, mystical verse, incantation, charm. The primary mantras being held to be 70 million in number, and the secondary, innumerable. A plan or design, or a name of Shiva. The practice, play with sounds that feel like food to your ears. The verse uses the word pinda, which means any round heap, a ball, a roundish lump of food, a bit, morsel, mouthful. It can just mean food, daily bread, livelihood, or subsistence. These metaphors point to mantras that are nutritious. What constitutes a nutritious sound is different for each of us and may change over time. Many of the classic meditative mantras feel like sounds of nature, the hum of electricity, the ilm of power flowing through nerves. Other mantras feel nourishing, like food. What matters in terms of yukti, skillfulness, is finding the sounds you love so much you want to be with them. Here are some seed sounds to explore. Hrim, shrim, krim, hom, am, sham, ram, am, klim, rlam, vam, ham. Read comic books and look at how they write descriptions of action sounds. Cartoon sound effect words might seem silly, but actually they are great examples of the thrill of shouting into the universe. These loud, all capital letter explosions can be easily seen and felt. Sense the explosive kaboom, blam, woomph. How about that great boing when a guy is eyeballing a girl? Or pow, thwip, bonk when there's a fight going on? What you want to develop are the sound effects that go with your inner life. Life is a musical, and these are the sound effects for your meditation. You can take energy and nourishment from them. Mantras are all around you. And whether you know it or not, you are constantly using them in everyday speech. Consonants fill our words. Sometimes when you have a few seconds, explore sounds such as the raucous and the exciting s. Notice if these sounds resonate with you. It's also great fun to listen to engines revving, those of planes at airports, cars at racetracks, lawnmowers in the neighbor's driveway. Listen to bees humming in the garden or your cat purring. Listen and know that space resonates with the silent potential of all these sounds. Let yourself feed on them in the most natural and immediate way. That's the 19th yukti overall. And probably my favorite one so far, if you couldn't already tell. Let's read a couple more, shall we? This is the 20th yukti and the 43rd verse overall in the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Ham nijade sarvadikang yugapad bhavayed vyat nirvikalpa manastasya vyat sarvam pravartate. The radiance of space permeates your body and all directions simultaneously. Space is always here, already here, before you're noticing of it. What we call space is a presence, permission to exist, and world within which to express. Without thinking about it, without forming mental images, rest in this expanse, vast expanse, friends with infinity. The word of the verse is Vyat. V-I-Y-A-T. Vyat. To dispose in various rows, arrange, to do penance, being dissolved, passing away, vanishing. The sky, heaven, air, atmosphere, ether as an element. It's also the name of the 10th mansion in astrology. It's also a kind of meter, poetic meter. The practice? Consider all directions simultaneously as being dissolved into sublime emptiness. The many meanings of Vyat suggest vanishing into thin air, perhaps accompanied by haunting and peaceful music. You could be in any pose, sitting, standing, lying down, floating in a pool, suspended in a sensory deprivation tank, and sense all directions simultaneously. Above me is endless space. Below me is endless space. Behind me is endless space. To my left is space. To my right is space. Within me is endless space. As the directions dissolve, so does your definition of yourself. This is exciting and freeing. If you are attracted to this exploration, start by letting yourself be with these phrases for a minute. That is enough. Maybe that minute will stretch into a few minutes. As soon as it stops feeling like a luxury, move on. Gradual is good. You might be with this thought for a minute or two every day, as part of your meditation time. Then, over weeks and months, enjoy the spaciousness you are perceiving as you move through your world. Don't do too much. Always give your senses and your sense of balance time to adapt. When you do the proper amount of this type of meditation for your body and your lifestyle, you will feel free and have the sense of lots of space around you to move in and explore. Your sense of direction will get stronger, and you will be better at navigating in the world. It is as if you rebooted your whole relationship with space. If you do too much, you can get spaced out, as they say. Always fine-tune your practice so that you function better in your daily life. That is the 20th practice. Finally, let's read one more, the 21st yukti, and the 44th verse overall in the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Prashta shunyam mula shunyam yuga padbhava yechaya Sharira nirapekshinya shaktya shunyamana bhave. Your back is a gateway to the sky. The celestial dance, the story of space and time is coded in the spine. Attend simultaneously to the area around your tailbone, vibrating with luminous space, and to the spine as a channel, gushing with radiant emptiness. Here, where particles flash in and out of existence, is the origin of mind. The word of the verse is prashta. P-R-S-T-A. Prashta. But the R, the S, and the T are all retroflex. They have a dot under it in the IAST. Prashta. It means standing forth or prominently. The back as a prominent part of an animal. The hinder or rear part of anything. To carry on the back, the upper side, the roof of a house, the vault of heaven, a page of a book, the back of the body, the spinal column. The practice, when you look up at the night sky and see an arc of stars stretching from horizon to horizon, that is the vault of heaven. Prashta suggests that you perceive your spine with the same sense of reverence, of wonder, as if you are gazing into space. Each vertebra is a celestial sphere made of emptiness and stars. A simple movement meditation with prashta is to get on your hands and knees and explore gentle curving motions with your spine. Imagine each vertebra as an area of the sky with a few stars. Continue to undulate gently and get used to the space above you, space below you, space within you, spaciousness permeating the whole area of your back. Very unique meditations. The 19th, play around with sound, mantra. The 20th, dissolve into emptiness, spaciousness in all directions. And the 21st, use your back as though it were a vault of heaven. Love these. We'll pause our reading of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra there for now. We shall continue next time with the 22nd Yukti, or the 45th verse overall. I am very much enjoying this reading with you, so thank you very much for being a listener. And as always, if that brought out any insights or reflections or curiosities from within you, you're welcome to explore them with me. That concludes our Shravana section dedicated to listening. Now my attention returns back to the comment section. I welcome everyone that joined while we were reading, and we can explore whatever is in our hearts and minds. Thank you to those who sent a gift whilst I read as well. Dear Seaflow, thank you for your heart me. Om Namah Shakti Shivaya. Dear Spooky, thank you for the flower headband. Om Hum Hum Hrim Hrim Namah Shakti Shivaya Shiva Shaktiyai Nama Om. Indigo Sky, thank you for your half a dozen roses. Om Karlim Kalikaya Namah. Thank you, dear Kim, for your finger heart. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namah. Dream Traveler, thank you for your heart me. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudhoraya. Samra, thank you for your hanging lights. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye Mahyam Medham Prajñam Prayacha Swaha. Thank you, Dragon's Breath, for another rose. Om Mitraya Namaha. Hello, dear Marlon. Can we please all collectively spread love to everyone in the US? You're from California. Sure. I'd be happy to take a moment to do that with all of you. If we are from it, if we are not from it, the US plays a pivotal role in the world. So many global relations hinge on the US. Therefore, let us pray that that place of the world be established in peace, and that peace has an effect on every other nation too. May they become role models in self-discovery, in interpersonal connection, in acceptance, happiness, joy. May all get along regardless of background, identity, orientation, belief system, ethnicity, etc. May we build bridges. May we see the humanness in each other. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dear Maya, you ask how would I go live if I didn't get money from streaming? The exact same way. I would continue to be live because I'm not guaranteed tomorrow I'm not guaranteed even the rest of my day. Who knows when this body is to return back to Mother Earth? I have no use for money. What I have use of is this body and mind still, and as long as I do so, I vow to make the most of it. I am here to give. I think my connection is back now. Thank you for your patience. I must apologize that my computer is getting old and TikTok streaming software is not exactly the most stable. So sometimes I have to restart the software when it crashes. And if there were any messages sent before I got to attend to them, unfortunately. Hello. I had to restart my computer. My computer's being a silly goose. It is getting old. I thank you again for your patience, everyone. I will have a look at my computer soon. Maybe I'll try unplugging things and plugging them back in, making sure the connection between my GPU and all the other components are secure, make sure my drivers are up to date, get some antivirus software going, make sure my computer is healthy. Just like we have to make sure our bodies are healthy, you know? Computers need to be kept healthy too. You think you managed to do the show and tell thingy? Oh, wonderful, dear Freya. Well done. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm in the position right now to purchase another computer because they're very expensive. I'll have to figure out what's wrong and try my best to fix it myself. But I'm very blessed to have a computer at all. It was made by my grandfather before he passed away. One of the last things that he got into in life was computers and building gaming computers, since he loved to play video games in his later life. And he built this computer very well, that it's still held up almost a decade later and is able to stream from. But yeah, it might be time to replace a few parts, perhaps. My grandfather was a very smart man. Indeed. He had many skills under his belt. So Freya, you ask, how does show and tell work? Show and tell is a section that I dedicate at the beginning of the Sangha. So for next Sangha, you've submitted something, and then what I'll do is I'll present it for you, and that'll be a show and tell of something from you, because I like to hold space for what you all have to share here. Oh, I'm teaching you how to not freak out over small things. My calming sense is truly inspiring, shares Fairy Brat. You know, it's always a question of how do you want to be? Do you want to be calm in the midst of adversity? I know I do, so I try to practice that. In the moment it might seem like such a problem, but that you can even be grateful for those things. When my computer crashed while I was restarting it, I sent a prayer out. I said, "Thank you, O universe, for giving me something to practice patience in, because I know the more I practice patience, the better of a human I'll be." And I also prayed for your forgiveness, everyone. I apologize for the live interruption on your end. You shared some of your shark shares, Freya. I love that. What a perfect show and tell. I look forward to that. Thank you, dear Ron, for the heart me that you sent. Ravaye Namaha. Dear Storm, you share you just got home visiting a conservation zoo with your little girl and it felt so wholesome. Aw, I love that. Us children, we connect so well with animals, considering that we are them. And that's sweet. And it's nice that it's a conservation zoo too. Hello, dear Hajar. And you saw a chicken today, shares Freya. I love chickens. And you love animals, Freya. Aww. Conservation means so much to you. It should mean so much to all of us, given that if we don't take care of our fellow earthlings in all their forms, then we truly aren't taking care of ourselves. We could have been born as any other animal, any other form of life, plant, fungus, bacteria. Yet we were born as a human. This is something very precious, this gift, because a human being has the dharma to take care of all other beings. We are the caretakers of this world, and we could do a lot better job of that collectively, to embody our role as Pashupati, the leader of the animals. We should be a good role model. Dear Fairy Brat, you ask, how does it feel to be such an evolved or enlightened masculine in this man's world society? Well, thank you for that. I don't see myself as that evolved or enlightened, to be honest. I'm doing the bare minimum. I think bare minimum. We should revere the divine feminine. We should see this world as one in which life comes in many forms. There is a spectrum of sex and gender, and we need not divide the world arbitrarily based on the polarities of those spectrums, because we all have the feminine and the masculine in and as us. We are all the feminine as our bodies that have come from the mother, and we are all masculine in our consciousness that has come from the Holy Father. When we see the Holy Father and Mother Nature not as separate, but as inseparable aspects of divinity from which this whole universe of experience is produced, we are doing the bare minimum. We have a long way to go, but that's a good start. Dear Freya, you are working on a kelp conservation project at your aquarium at the moment. It's just started. I love that for you. Tell me, what important features does kelp play in not just an aquarium, but in ecosystems? I would love to know. Can we get a fit check? My fit is not so different from yesterday. We got yoga pants down there and no socks. Dear Freya, you share where you live on the coast. There used to be many kelp forests. So we are going to grow kelp and replant it. I love that. You are an angel. You are a kelp angel. You just saw a wild dog, dear Hajar. There's a wild dog within all of us. So Sometimes we just need to howl at the moon. It's a rewilding project. You're so excited. I'm excited for you, dear Freya. Yeah. I'm holding hand symbols in my hand, dear Nia. Can we see the fit? Well, there's not much to see. I can zoom out. Dark gray yoga pants. That's the only thing you can't see. They are stretchy and they are comfortable. I'm glad you love the sound it makes. Peace be with you, dear Rasul Allah Muhammad. What is it should I wear? What is that? Shalwars are trousers which are typically wide at the waist and narrow to a cuffed bottom. Oh. Those do look comfy. Yes. I like that. They do look very loose. I appreciate loose clothing. Yeah. I'm wondering, how are all of you feeling at this moment? If you want to share, of course. I say hello to all my silent viewers too. You never have to say anything. I know you're there. The D. You ask, what's the best way to raise your vibration? Well, are you getting your vitamin D? Speaking of the D. Vitamin D is important. Helps boost our energy levels, among many other things. But your vibration is all about how you look at the world. Higher vibration means that you see the possibilities in yourself and all around you. Higher vibration means that you are not looking at faults or limitations. You are looking at how to transcend them, how to go beyond status quo, how to be a trailblazer, that sort of thing. Dear Freya, you're feeling super cozy and a bit thirsty for juice. I'm glad you're super cozy. I love juice. You're feeling sad, dear Gina. That's okay. You're allowed to feel sad. You're in survival mode, shares Malik. Bring your body to a sense of groundedness through your breath. Affirm through deep cyclical breathing that there is no tiger in the bushes ready to pounce on you. That the sun has not yet exploded. At least not in the last 8 minutes. Take care of your senses, your sensory experience. Cultivate the attitude of gratitude. Feeling low energy. Sounds like the perfect time to recharge, dearest Gina. Oh, such kind words, dear fairy. Feeling inspired by me I make life seem like what's most important is to be with oneself and not seek external romantic love from someone else. When you know that there is an infinite source of love within you, that is the greatest validation. What a gift to be alive in that way. What's my favorite juice, asks Freya. Oh, I'm not picky. I love all types of juice. But if I could go for one right now, I think I would probably pick mango. You're feeling tired, your little moth. Happy and cozy, listening to my calming voice. Well, I'm glad it's calming.
But if I speak like this, oh, it's probably not going to be so calming.
And why should I wear socks, dear blood? How am I? Asks your little moth. At this moment, I am feeling very grateful, open, happy to be here, at peace, blissful, excited, at rest. You're chillaxing, dear Kim. Starfished on your bed. Bliss. That's how I used to sleep at night, according to my mother. I'd always starfish. It'd be very difficult sharing the bed with me. Dear Kim, you ask, how do I recommend recharging? You're also tired and a little need of uplifting. You are exactly where you're meant to be at this moment. I know that because everything is. This universe is very efficient, even if we don't believe it. Energy flows where it needs to go. And if parts of your body and mind need some energy, bring your attention to that. Practice meditating. You can submerge yourself in a bath. You can also lie on the floor, do some breathing exercises. Imagine breathing into every part of your body, sanctifying it as a living temple of the goddess. Thank you, dear lone wolf, for the heart me that you sent. Suryaya Namah. Dear Dob, thank you for your heart me. Bhadrakāli Namah. You've never tried mango juice, shares Freya. Add that to your bucket list.
Shall I keep talking like this?
Shares Olski. Dear Matilda, you had asked, how can you learn to not measure yourself by others' recognition or measure yourself based on your echo? The comment got cut off at those 3 letters. Echo. Maybe accountability was the rest of that word. You live a very unique experience. Your life is not going to be exactly like anyone else's. And the steps that you take to learn lessons are going to be perhaps in a different order or come at different times than others. We might have a linear journey individually, but our linear journey doesn't map on to everyone else's linear journeys. When you look at all the different kinds of journeys that are capable through each human being, you can explore the various walks of life in any order that makes sense to you. So, measurement truly only make sense based on your own personal value system. You can absolutely take inspiration from others. You can be inspired by where others are in their journey and find a way to adapt that to yours. But that doesn't mean you're meant to be anywhere else than where you are in your journey at this time. If you want to compare yourself to anything, compare yourself now to who you were yesterday. Have you learned something new today? Have you practiced taking a moment of stillness for yourself today that you didn't yesterday? Did you realize how to do something in a kinder way today? Oh, that's wonderful. Think about all you're becoming today, rather than all you have not become. Thank you, dear Mehdi, for the rose you sent. Pushne Namaha. And the rest of the word was accomplishments, dear Matilda. Gotcha. Yeah, exactly. You reflect at the end of your day everything that you've done today. Worry not about what you haven't done. Pray in the mornings to be able to do that. If you can't do everything, that's okay. You did what you can, and at nighttime, that's the time for you to rest, not the time for you to deconstruct every choice you've ever made. Go to sleep. And rise in peace, knowing that you'll have another day. Thank you, dear Roxy, for the ice cream cone and squirrel that you send. Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Orin, thank you for your heart meme. Marichaye Namaha. Thank you, Midi, for your campfire. Adityaya Namaha. Hello, dear Rugdrambo. Thank you for sharing your unconditional love, dear Roxy. I have not made music per se, dear Lotus Flotus, since the last time you probably were familiar with that side of me. But I love chanting mantras, and mantra chanting is satisfying for me at this time. Dear Freya, you ask, do I have any adventures or missions planned? I think there's some in the works. Yeah. Dearest G, you give a frozen mango chunk blended with coconut cream milk, hint of honey if you choose. Blended smoothie recipe. Thank you for that. I like that. Dear Fairy, you asking, do I ever have down days? Of course. If so, how do I deal with them? Do I ever get fed up of the human experience? So how do I deal with my down days? Well, I allow myself to be down. I think you can live a great down day if you allow yourself to be down. The only bad part of a down day is if you're trying to get up but you can't. But if your goal is something other than to get up, if you use the down day to stay down, then it becomes a day of rest, a day of recharging, a lazy day, a day of doing nothing. And sometimes that's exactly what we need. A day where you're not productive, a day where you're just a blob. That's like a different kind of rest than the kind we get at sleep. It's a waking kind of rest. Your whole day becomes a meditation. You can flop on the floor, just be grounded, slump in a chair, You don't have to go out and do things every day. You can have days where you just be like Jello. I think that's very healthy, actually. So when you're having a down day, stay down. Do I ever get fed up with the human experience? Sometimes I get frustrated, but I know that my frustrations are a sign that I'm holding on to something that I need to let go of. And that inspires me to become more free from some limiting worldview. So I choose to try to see something in another way. If I ever get stuck in any particular perspective, then the perspective's not serving me. I should let that shit go. As the Buddha once said. Just kidding. He said, I never said that. Thank you, dear Royal Boo, for your heart meme. Savitri Namaha. The Buddha did say to use the language of the people. Let that shit go is definitely using the language of the people. Thank you for finding loveliness in this place, dear Midi. Hello, dear Crystal. Dear Mirto, hello. You shared that yesterday your father was ready. You hit me because you reacted at something. I'm not sure exactly what the comment is there. Your father was ready to hit you, maybe, and I have to wait until the hand hearts. There, now I can scroll back up. And thank you, Midi, for your hand hearts, the quintet of them. Aum Namah Karlim Ambita Me Shrim Nadita Me Hrim Devita Me Aim Saraswatyai Swaha. If your father was ready to hit you, if anyone was ready to hit you, I'm so sorry. No one should ever have to go through physical abuse or abuse of any kind. Discipline in the form of punishment or even reward makes us bound to the results of our actions, which are outside of our control. There are things that we just can't account for in life. And what matters most is how you are taking accountability in this moment. I'm so sorry that your father feels perhaps like it's his duty to get you to be a certain way, which is unachievable. You know your worth in this moment, and nobody else can tell you that. Dear quote today, you're wondering, what do these words mean? These Sanskrit mantras, you can ask about any of them and I can tell you. Dear Jackie, thank you for your finger heart. Bhaskaraya Namaha. That was a salutation to the sun. Dear Matilda, you share you often do the measuring of yourself subconsciously. How can you stop negative patterns? The only way to change your subconscious is to change what you pay attention to during the day. If you are looking at other people's negative behavior, then that informs your subconscious to do so. If you look for the role models in your society, if you constantly listen to uplifting stories of people who achieved wonderful things, rather than the stories of people who beat themselves up or judge others, or you are paying attention to what people aren't doing in this world, that all affects your subconscious. The greatest gift you can ever give yourself is what's called satsanga. means a Sangha, a community of truth, Sat, meaning that they see the truth in you. You see the truth in them. And your goal through those relationships is to uplift each other. Someone who has been pointed out their faults when they were younger has created that subconscious pattern in them to look for faults in themselves. If you can change your environment in the sense that you choose what you give your attention to around you, that will have an effect on your subconscious too. As you go forward from today, continue giving your energy, your time, your effort in communities that bring out the best in you and see the best in each other. That means seeing the best in the people around you as well. Dear Hajar, you ask, how do you deal with living in a highly toxic family? You love them, which makes it so much harder. Every day is a struggle. I'm sorry to hear that, dear Hajar. Just because you love someone doesn't give them permission to walk all over you, to abuse you, to take advantage of you. Just because you're family doesn't mean you have to fall into their worldview. If you have to live with someone, set boundaries with those people. Communicate your feelings openly, even if they don't want to. Still, you deserve to express yourself. And if no matter what you do to communicate or set boundaries, still your life is miserable, then I would get out of that situation. Because even if you love them, even if they're family, doesn't mean that you deserve to suffer in the same household. It may be the hardest decision that some people ever make, but it can be the most important decision they ever make, whether staying there is truly healthy for them and everyone, or that everyone would have a better life if there was some space created in the meantime. But please explore the options first of setting boundaries and communicating your feelings openly. You don't have to take shit from other people, even on the spiritual path. Dear Roxy, you share you are allowing yourself to be down today and yesterday. You're radically accepting your sadness. That can be a very beautiful thing to do. Yeah. What does an average daily routine look like for me, dear Kim? Well, today I got up and I rose with the intention of unifying my body, mind, and spirit in the service of truth. I opened my blinds. I did a mantra for each form of the divine. I prayed for everyone in my life and myself. I brushed my teeth. I drank a cup of warm water after chanting mantras into it. I washed my face. I went outside. I did 5 salutations to the sun. I stretched. I chanted. I performed my kriyas. I ate food for breakfast, and usually I go for a walk, but I rose late today and didn't want to start my Sangha too early, or too late, so I started it earlier than my walk today. I'll go for a walk after this. And beautiful words, dear Olski. Thank you, Midi. Dear Clayson, you ask, is my For You page funny? I actually don't use TikTok myself, personally. I don't scroll, I don't have a For You page. I do sometimes scroll on YouTube shorts, however. And yeah, my YouTube shorts are pretty funny. I do like memes. Dear Kim, you ask, how long have I been on my journey in this way? No date in particular, just a gradual transformation over the course of my whole life. And where would be a good place to start? I didn't really have one starting place. It was a very natural unfolding. All I try to do every day is just be a little more kind and open and learn new things, but nothing specific. But if you want something specific, I can give you that. But its specificity doesn't come from objectivity. Just sometimes we need a little quest to go on, and I'm happy to be a quest giver. Thank you, dear spiritual vibes, for your heart mate. Sum Suryaya Namaha. Hello, dear Mohi. I'm based in Vancouver Island, dear Tara. Dear Gina, you're wondering if I may please pray for the soul of Miss Nora Honor. She's gone now. Her body may be returning back to Mother Earth, but the soul needs no prayers. Families may need prayers to be able to process that grief of letting go of the body. I pray for the family, but why do I need to pray for a soul that's liberated? All souls are free, even in the body or disembodied. They are happy and at peace. Souls always are. That's their nature. But I pray that once she returns to another body, that she may live, laugh, and express her joy freely. And I pray that everyone who had a connection to Miss Nora knows that she's still here, part of this existence. She's just letting go of her body in order to acquire a new one. And you may contact that soul in your heart at any time. Hello, dear bright eyes. Thank you, dear Anasak, for your heartbeat. Kameshwarya Namaha. Hello, dearest Ansuela Priya. Namaskar, dear dancing Aurora Borealis. You had blueberries for breakfast? What a great way to start your day, dear Freya. What time is it for me? Asks Melancholy. It's 2:43 p.m. I learned so much too, dear Yona. Namaste, dear Anasak. What's my zodiac sign? Sun and moon? Asks Fairy Brat. I can tell you my moon, but I can't tell you my sun. My moon sign is Pisces, but my sun sign is a mystery. I was born on Adhika Purnima, which in Vedic astrology is the full moon of the lunar leap month. During such a time, the sun does not imprint on your astrological chart. There are times, in exceedingly rare circumstances, or a certain planet or the sun or moon may not imprint on your astrological chart. Most Western astrology does not take into account these things. Under extremely rare, extraordinary circumstances, people like myself don't have a sun sign. And the moon takes the place of fulfilling that role whenever that happens. So the moon imprinted on me twice, whereas I would have gotten a sun sign. During Adhika Purnima, the moon takes the place of the sun. So I have two moon signs, or just a doubling of my moon sign in Pisces. Thank you, dear Lena, for your heart me. Bhagamalinyai Namah. Happy Easter, dear bright eyes. Good afternoon, dear Jaderate. Thank you, dear Lena, for your trio of tiny dinos. Yippee! And dear Jackie, thank you for your pair of tiny dinos too. Yahoo! Dear you little moth, you ask, do I think some dreams can have meaning? Of course. Everything has meaning, if you choose to give it meaning. Souls are meaning makers. That's our destiny, to imbue this world, whether waking or dream, with meaning. Dreams are not mere random firing of our neurons. They are an expression of everything we've experienced thus far. You are looking at the very samskaras, the impressions made on you by life. You are looking at the astral realm, the dream world, the subconscious. Thank you, dear Mehdi, for the let butterfly dances. Nitya Klinaya Namaha. Dear Yona, you ask, why do you feel that the spiritual path is sometimes so hard to follow on this planet? Because it's an upward journey. And when you're going uphill, it takes more energy than when you're going downhill. If the spiritual path was easy, you're probably going downhill. You know you're going uphill when it's difficult. There's a formula for that energy. The local gravitational constant times your mass times the height that you travel. Your energy that you put into climbing increases proportional with your height. So the harder your spiritual path is, the higher you're going. But that doesn't mean you have to be hard on yourself. Having a hard spiritual path is different from being hard on yourself. Being hard on yourself is like punching your arm as you're walking uphill. You're punching your arm because it's hard. You're punishing yourself for the challenge that you're facing. It sounds silly, but yet we all do that. There's something difficult that happens in our life, and then we punish ourselves for the world being difficult on us. We can be easy on ourselves even when the world's difficult on us. We can be kind to ourselves, be easy going, have lots of love for this body and mind as we struggle to go higher and higher on the spiritual path. Dear Matilda, you're thinking of joining the army for a year, but you're not sure if that's what's healthy for you. You're strict and harsh, but that's not how you want to be on the other side. Or that's not how you want to be. On the other side, you need to meet new people and learn to push yourself physically. What are my thoughts? Why would you want to join the army? If you want discipline, there's ways of doing that without adding to warfare and violence in the world. We need less militaries, not more. We need a world where there doesn't have to be soldiers. We need a world where there's lovers. You don't need a drill sergeant to discipline you. Your own discipline can come from self-love, not from defending the concept of a boundary on this planet. If you truly love this body and mind, don't be hard on yourself like that. Go so easy on yourself that you know taking care of your body and mind is the best way to show love to it. That you get a good amount of sleep because you love yourself. That you eat healthily because you love yourself. You exercise because you love yourself, not because you feel like you have to or else. You do these things because you want to. I think there was a kitty somewhere in the house meowing. Yes. Dear Jackie, you ask, do souls just hover around but don't reincarnate until everyone associated with them dies? I think you asked this before, dear Jackie, and my answer remains the same. That you reincarnate according to your last thought. There's only one verse that tells you everything you need to know about how reincarnation works. If you know this one verse, you can answer all questions relating to reincarnation. It's so beautifully succinct. We can use this to answer your question. It's the 6th verse from the 8th chapter of the ancient Bhagavad Gita, divine song, where the divine tells us exactly how reincarnation happens in a singular Sanskrit verse. It goes like this. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. Yam yam means whatever, va api at all, smaram remembering, bhavam nature, tyajati gives up, ante at the end, kalevaram this body, tam tam similar, eva certainly, eti gets, kaunteya the person that the divine was speaking to at this time, sada always, tat that, bhava state of being, bhavitaha remembering. Or rearranging for English grammar, whatever state of being one remembers when they leave their body, that state they will attain always. Your most culminating thought, the idea you have of yourself at the end, that idea forms the nucleus for the next body. If that idea includes others, then yes, your reincarnation will depend on others. For example, if you know you have unfinished business with a certain being in this lifetime, like, for example, you didn't do everything on your bucket list with your partner, and you hold that idea as you pass away, then you shall reincarnate with your partner in the next life. If, however, you're not attached to the people in your life, you hold an idea that's independent from any other being, then no, you won't have to wait until anyone else reincarnates, unless there's some implicit conjunction in your idea that indirectly means that other people have to. Just this one verse tells you everything you need to know. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. It's beautiful. It's a good practice how we can use deductive reasoning based on revelation in the form of scripture to come to answers to such questions. These answers would be great in a podcast, dear Yona. Well, I do upload all of them on YouTube, and you're welcome to listen to the playlists of these live streams on there when I'm not live. Well said, dear G. Discipline isn't necessarily a violent action. Very true. What do I think of Sadhguru? Asks Ezra. I see that Sadhguru has a very powerful way of speaking. And definitely, I have learned a lot from Sadhguru. Dear Jackie, you had asked, how do you make yourself love yourself? You separate the two yourselves in this sentence because they refer to different things. You are the consciousness. This body is your tool. When we say love yourself, we mean you as consciousness, bringing time and energy to your body. Technically speaking, you can't actually love yourself, which is the consciousness, because the consciousness is love itself. So what we really mean when we say love yourself is love your body, love your mind. And why is that important? Because your goal as a soul is to love everybody, every mind. That includes the body and mind that we get from Mother Nature. This is another person. This body, this mind. It is its own person that you take care of. So you take care of this person. Love this body, love this mind, just as you would take care of any other person. So it becomes very simple. How do you love others? Well, you cook for them. You listen to them. Maybe if you're at that level of relationship, you can massage them. You can massage your own body. Run baths for them. Make sure that they get their exercise, their sleep. That they get to exercise their mind too. In all the same ways that you'd love another body, another mind. Bring that love, the very same kind of love, to this mind, this body. You try to look for me on YouTube, shares Yona. Yam Spiritual. You just get a bunch of yam mantras for your food or something, I don't know. The name of the YouTube channel is Yamsox Lives. Same as my username, YAMSOX space lives, LIVES. And it's linked in the link tree in my bio. In fact, it's just linked on my TikTok too. You just click on the YouTube icon in my profile. That'll send you straight to it. Thank you for being part of the space, dear Midi. How many languages do I speak? I speak barely one. I'm still learning how to speak English. Yeah. You've studied like 8, but only really know 2. That's beautiful. Yeah, I like to study languages too, but I only really know English. You get it better this time. I'm happy to hear that, dear Jackie. You're always welcome to ask questions multiple times. I can always rephrase things in a different way. And thank you, dear Anisak. I do understand you. I think you're saying my message is more precious than a novel. That's very beautiful. I appreciate that. Oh, dear Jackie. I am sorry if I made you feel like you were too slow to get it just once because I answered the question again for you. I'm happy to do that. Yeah. We all learn at different speeds, and no one is too slow or too fast. And we all take multiple times to learn something. I mean, show me somebody who can just learn something the first time and they've got it. Thank you, dear Kim, for your mark of love. Bhairundaya Namah. Her Royal Highness Zeni, thank you for your 16 roses. Vahnivasinyaya Namah. Dear Anisak, thank you for your 51 roses. Vajreshwarya Namah. Goodbye, dear Kim. Hello, dear Jamie. I love that, Yona. We're all connected. You mastered the link tree. It was tough. You applied yourself and you figured it out, dear Freya. Thank you, dear Sharon. Dear Pain, you share you never understood how karma yoga can lead to realization like other types of yoga. I know exactly what you mean, right? I mean, bhakti yoga, through your loving devotion, you get closer to the source. Through jnana yoga, through realization itself of knowledge to fulfill the gaps of our ignorance, we understand our nature. But karma yoga, how does acting without attachment to outcome lead us to liberation? Well, ultimately all we have to be liberated by is freedom from those attachments. That liberation is none other than non-attachment to outcome. And that's not to undersell liberation. That is to bring into the full value of karma yoga. That truly, it is no minute feat to be non-attached to outcome. To live non-attached to outcome is to live, pardon me, from an enlightened perspective. But the yogas all feed into each other as one too. Through jnana yoga, you discover that you are not this body and this mind alone. You are the consciousness that pervades all bodies and minds. Well, that tells us something. We should behave in the world not just as an individual body and mind. We should serve the collective bodies and minds, because all of those bodies and minds contain you, the self of the universe that we all are together. So that jnana yoga informs our karma yoga. You can come to the similar conclusion with Bhakti Yoga. Through Bhakti Yoga, you long to serve the divine. Well, if the divine exists as the Paramatma, the higher self of all beings, then similarly, we shall practice Karma Yoga, serving others without attachment to outcome, as a means of Bhakti Yoga. And there's Jnana Yoga that comes from the Karma Yoga. You'll find as you serve others, you'll learn stuff about yourself. It's like the universe hides truths in little quests that we do through Karma Yoga. You might hold your arm out for a little lady crossing the street, and then while you're crossing the street with her, this revelation will appear in your mind, seemingly perhaps unconnected to the action, but it's like you unlocked something through that action. You may be surprised to discover how much you learn through serving others. You could be flashing a smile to someone on the street, and then they smile you back in a way that seems to deliver some truth to you. In this way, and many other ways, the yogas that are presented by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita are truly not separate, but entangled as one. What a brilliant question. Thank you for asking that. Hello to Principessa. Hello, Luca. Dear Fairy Brant, you ask, do I have aspirations like the rest of you? Like getting married, a white picket fence, and a mini yous. I see. Having children. I have aspirations, but all my aspirations are an extension of this moment. And in this moment, there's no marriage. At this moment, there's no white picket fence. In this moment, there's no mini-me's. Maybe those things come, maybe not. But I'm not guaranteed them. And I want to live carefully, knowing that, well, if I do put all my energy into these things, what happens if I die halfway through? What happens if I spend so much of my life wanting to get married and then I die before I get married? How will I feel about that? I mean, there's nothing wrong with dying, but all my energies will have been directed towards something that wasn't guaranteed. What can I give my attention to regardless of outcome in life, regardless of if I live another day? Now my aspirations do change from something in the future to something in the present. I know that I'm alive in this moment, and in this moment I'm talking to you. So my only aspiration is to be a good listener to you and to express what I need to share with you. I hope to articulate my words in a way that's understandable. I hope that you know that you feel valued, that I'm here for you. My aspirations are on a moment-by-moment basis. And it is true that I may live another day. I may live to have a life that have those things, but I don't have them as aspirations per se, but possibilities that I may be grateful for if I'm so blessed to have that. Does that make sense? Thank you, dear KXDja, for the 11 ice cream cones that you sent. Shiva Dutyai Namah. Hello, dear Jamie. I'm doing well, thank you. Dear Michael, you ask, do I ever think my intensity to more Eastern spiritualities is blinding me from other truths? That's a great question, dear Michael. Well, I have an answer for you. One of the most beautiful things about Eastern spirituality is its all-inclusiveness. The nature of Eastern spirituality is all about making sure that we're not blind to other truths. So when we say Eastern spirituality, it's a bit of a misnomer because it means all-inclusive spirituality. That is to say, the sentiment that is preserved in the East is one that applies to all spirituality. So, I find value in what is based in the East, yes, but through what is based in the East, it allows me to understand what is the global discussion on spirituality. And so, no, I don't feel blind to other spiritual truths because the very nature of Eastern spirituality is to take off your blinders, to be able to see things fully, universally, regardless of the form or time or culture that they come from. In fact, the very name of Eastern spirituality in Sanskrit is Sanatana Dharma, which means the eternal truth. That is all-inclusive. It's inclusive to Hinduism, it's inclusive to Buddhism, it's inclusive to Jainism, it's inclusive to Sikhism, it's inclusive to the Abrahamic faiths, Christianity, Judaism, Islam. It's inclusive to Zoroastrianism. It's inclusive to Taoism. It's inclusive to Confucianism. It's inclusive to every single form of spirituality, organized or unorganized. It is a universal tradition, truly. It is the path of going beyond all paths, to find the unity within all paths. The only reason we call it Eastern is not in comparison to Western, but it just so happens that what is preserved in the East connects us to what is universal all around the world, which is not as easy to find preserved in the West unless you go to indigenous cultures that have preserved these ancient teachings too. The further you go back in time, the more unified these perspectives become. And the East is just a portal to an ancient world which has been forgotten by the West. But if you dive deep into Western philosophy or spirituality, you will ultimately find the very same truths that are found at any place and any time, as part of the fabric of reality. And I love that. Alright, a big question from Yona. What do I think is the meaning of life? It's a silly question. Why? Because the meaning of life is life. I mean, hello? This is already meaningful. What do you mean you're wondering what the meaning is? Isn't it meaningful just to wake up? Isn't it meaningful to breathe? Isn't it meaningful to see the sun, to see the moon, to watch plants grow, to talk to each other, to work on projects together, to storytell, to sing, to dance? This is the meaning of life. Life is the meaning of life. Always remember, dear Pain, that Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga are not different paths. They are the same path, with different names. Am I enlightened? Ask Caveman on Fire. It's a good username. I don't consider myself enlightened, but I do consider myself as working on that every day, a little bit at a time. And do you need psychedelics for that? Not at all, my friend. You have the most revolutionary physiology in this whole world. You can access fundamental truths and states of expanded consciousness just entirely by utilizing what's here in this body, this mind, without anything secondary. It's all there, my friend. And thank you, dear Lone Wolf, for your quintet of
tiny tinies. Yippee!
Dear Lauren, you ask, what are my thoughts on shame? And how can self-love and self-compassion transform this feeling? What a beautiful question, dear Lauren. Shame is something that we all experience, but can you transform it into a positive thing? That should be a goal. There are two types of shame. There's unhelpful or harmful, and then there's helpful. When it's helpful, we might even give it another name besides shame. We might call it reflection on accountability. If the shame truly comes from something we did, then we may call it reflection on accountability. If the shame comes from someone else who has only projected their own shame on you, then we might refer to it as something different. We might call it understanding another person's pain as different from ours. For everyone it may be different. For some people it might be reflection on accountability. For others it might be understanding another person's pain as different from our own. But regardless of what form it comes from what form it comes in for you, shame is never something that deserves to take away from your life. You can't change the past. The universe isn't going, oh, you really screwed up. Yep. And that's going to weigh on you for the rest of your life. The universe cannot be disappointed in you. You are the universe, and it wants you to thrive. If you screwed up in the past is gone. The present is here. What can you do today? If you have something to take accountability for, reflect on that. If you have something to understand when it comes to your pain and another person's pain, then consider that. Whatever you do, don't let that take away from your ability to thrive in this moment. Even someone who's committed 1,000 sins, if they truly reflect on them in this moment and vow to live the rest of their life in loving kindness, the world could not be more happier with that person. It's all about what we vow to do in this moment, not what we vowed to do in the past but didn't, or others wanted for us but couldn't. There only is this moment. Let this moment be the one in which you thrive. Let this moment be the one in which you reflect, you understand, and all of your karmic bondage is dissolved just by that understanding. Thank you, dear Adam, for your rose. Tvaritaya Namaha. Dear Yona, you ask, have I had supernatural experience? I think Bhurmhuvaswaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai. There we go. Thank you for your patience and understanding. When my computer crashed, I was reflecting on how precious words are, that we're never guaranteed for our words to be heard. So when we do have a chance to say something, that's an opportunity to be concise, direct, and leave nothing undisclosed. And I'm so grateful for the time we do have between these interruptions. I love when the universe provides ample opportunity for reflection on these simple truths. The comments that I wasn't able to attend to before my computer crashed have been lost to the ether. If you would like to manifest them again, you're welcome to. It's a practice of patience indeed, dear Crystal. It might have something to do with my CPU. TikTok says, CPU underclocking detected. I'll look into that. Good time to take a deep breath, everyone. Dear Nayara, you ask, what do I think is the main difference between the witness state and carelessness? The main difference is care. In the witness state, you care. You actively involve yourself with this world. Being a witness includes participation in this world. It's just that now you understand yourself both as an actor and an audience member. To truly be in higher awareness means to be aware of all of the things that you can do in this world to express that higher self, which is full of love, happiness, bliss, with everyone else. Being passive is no act of witnessing. If you're passive, it means you're not witnessing your potential. You have a potential to change this world. Be aware of that also. And wherever your awareness goes, energy flows. Dear Nia, you had asked, have I had any supernatural experiences? Thank you. I think that was the question that it froze on for me. I have had many wonderful moments of awe, but I don't consider them supernatural. I consider it super natural. Just natural in the most super sense. When you're really connected with nature, all these wonderful experiences will happen. Synchronicities, you may call them. You're very welcome, dear Nayara. How do I celebrate Easter? Well, I used to go on an Easter egg hunt as my mom or grandmother would set up for me and my sister and other cousins. We didn't do that this year. However, There's still time. I could come out of my room and there could be Easter eggs around. It's a possibility. No expectation. But Easter celebrates the ascension from the cross. In Christianity, Easter is the day of resurrection. There's a crossover with pagan traditions of inviting spring, inviting new energy into this world, new forms. That's very beautiful. The rising of the sun. The days continue to get longer. For Christians, you celebrate the divinity of the Christ and his final miracle. Well, there is no final miracle. Miracles happen abound all around us. But in terms of the events of the Bible, the resurrection was I don't want to say the nail in the coffin. I shouldn't say that. For his divinity. I think that's very beautiful. When someone is so in touch with their divinity that not even the loss of the physical body can prevent you from continuing in your message, your journey. Dear Yona, you love how I have this tiny bit of sassy way of answering and laughing sometimes. Well, if there is any, I hope it is tiny. I don't intend on being sassy. Dear Lindsay, you share it's a nice day to remember we can be who we ever want to be. We can be whoever we want to be. We are not tied to our past. I love that. Welcome, dear Susie. Tea with Tay, you ask, how should we go about setting boundaries with others? There's a very simple 3-step process that I like. Step 1. State when they do something. For example, when you leave in the morning without saying goodbye to me. On to step 2. You express how that makes you feel. It makes me feel like I am not as much of a priority as is your job. Step 3. You ask for a compromise. If you forget to say goodbye to me, can you text me? Or maybe write a note for me to see when I wake up before you go to sleep? That's a step 3 system. Step 1, state when they do something. Step 2, express how that makes you feel. Step 3, ask for some actionable compromise that they can do. Happy Easter, dear Dancing Aurora Borealis. Thank you, dear Helena. That can be applied to many different situations. We can do another example, if that would be helpful. That was a very monotonous example. It's a very small boundary there. If you wanted to do a little more serious boundary, when you come home angry and you expect me to make dinner for you, that makes me feel like I am just a slave to you. That's just how I feel. Like our partnership isn't equal, but that only I am here to serve you. Can you treat me more as an equal? Can you not have such expectations for me to always be cooking for you? Do you mind cooking for yourself some nights when I am unable to? Or forgive me if I have other things to do? Or can I teach you how to make your favorite food? That's a good one. When someone is depending on you for something, you can teach them how to do what it is that they're depending on you for. How tall am I? Ask him. I am 5'10". Not that it matters. Thank you, dear Helena, for your quartet of roses. Heart me on TikTok. Nityaya Namaha. Dear Anasak, thank you for your quintet of squirrels and finger heart. Nilapata Kinyai Namaha. Official Queen Lynette, you share, this guy you've been online dating for 3 years. He acts like he loves you so much, but won't commit. So maybe an example could be, when you show that you love me, but yet contradict that in your lack of commitments, that makes me question your sincerity in your love to me. Could we have a conversation about our shared goals for each other in this relationship? Maybe. Or the last example, or can we take in turns to cook for one another? That's a great compromise, dear Kim. I like that. Yeah. Your husband does all these things very well, says Kimberly. I'm so happy to hear that. Yona, you share, sassy is partly almost synonymous with bubbly, vivid, or frisky. Oh, those are great words. Thank you. You're just curious what my height was because all the other questions are so deep that an easy one felt due. I did not expect that reason behind the question. That's very wholesome, actually. I appreciate that. Do I believe in soulmates or anything similar? I believe that there is only one soul. We share that soul. Poetically, we may speak of different souls, but they're just different perspectives of seeing the very same universal consciousness. In other words, there is only one being in this universe, and that's the universe. You and I are the universe. My cat, Sandy, and Shadow are the universe. Even that guy, Greg, that we don't like so much. He's part of the universe. I'm just kidding. There's no Greg that we don't like so much. But just in case there was, he'd still be a part of the universe. So, literally speaking, anyone can become your soulmate because it's the same soul deep down. The question is, in the form that they come in, with their past, with their mindset, with their body, are you able to find the soul amidst all that? For many of us, it may be difficult to see the soul in almost anybody. Every now and then, a form will come along that complements yours, and it's, I'm not going to say easy to see the soul, because every relationship requires work, even soulmates. But it's going to be a lot easier for you to see the soul in that form than any other. And you can choose that to be your divine bridge, connection of the energies of life, a divine mirror to your own expression of the soul of this universe. And that may come through multiple people throughout your life. Maybe it's the same person through many lives. Ultimately, it's your own choice. Well, it's the choice between two people, but one soul. Dear Nayara, you ask, could I please share the name of the background music? Absolutely. It's called Discover the Magic of Rag Hamsadhwani. That's RAAGHAMSADHWANI. Indian classical music, healing melodies. It's got a picture of Ganesha, I believe. Thank you, dear Colonel, for the heart me that you sent. Kula Sundariyai Namaha. And Helena, thank you for your rose. Vijayayai Namaha. It's on YouTube, dear Anisek. What did Greg do? Besides make tasty sausage rolls. I have seen a couple episodes of Midnight Gospel, dear Ralal. You're welcome, dear Nayara. Dear KM, you ask, how do I balance belief in free will against the belief the universe is guiding you? You are part of the universe. So, the universe guiding you is your higher free will. That's your higher self. And it's in its free will chooses to guide you in your lower self at the human level. You are guided by your own higher self, which is the universe. And our mantra is believed to be linked to manifestation. Well, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that mantras can manifest, but there is a kind of culture around mantras that's different than the culture around manifestation. The culture of mantras is not really to get anything from the universe. It's not about manifesting per se, although you do receive benefit from chanting them. It's more about the enjoyment of chanting, that the greatest gift in life is not what we receive from the universe, but the opportunity to be a living expression of the universe. It's to add to the universe. Well said, dear G. That we become the manifestation through the mantras that the universe needs. We are the manifestation. The universe has manifested us, and our chanting connects us with that source of the manifestation. Thank you, dear Fairy Brad. I try to go live every day. I love that. Kinder or kinder. We are each other. I am you, you are me. I am everything, and everything is me. I love that. Speaking of mantras, it is time for us to end our Sangha today with a mantra. Normally we'd have a reading of Rumi. It'd be time for another ruminations, But we finished reading the Pocket Rumi. What a celebration it can be. Let's spend just a moment of silence for all the poems of Rumi that we read together. Thank you. So if you want to stick around and do a very lively meditation, a mantra meditation, where we dissolve into the ecstatic sounds of Sanskrit, you're welcome to stick around. Today's mantra also comes from the Kamika Agama, an ancient Dravidian text which holds the secrets to the meanings and what can be manifested by specific sounds of Sanskrit. Today's sound is cha, cha. It looks like this. That symbol here in Devanagari, or in the International Alphabet of Sanskrit Transliteration, it is spelled CH, and it is very similar to how we might pronounce this diagram in English, but we do so with even more breath, as that H is certainly no accident. It means an aspirated plosive. Cha, cha, cha. Very breathy. It's said that this sound has the color of blue, but I'm realizing that the blue doesn't blend well with the background, or rather it blends too well. So allow me to quickly change the color of the text so that you'll be able to read this a little better. Let me tell you a little bit more about this mantra while I do so. It is dedicated to a form of the divine known as Bhadrakāli, which is a feminine form. Kali comes from the root kal, meaning time. Kali is the feminized form of time, time herself. Bhadra is a word that means auspicious, or blessed, or prosperous, peaceful even. So Bhadrakāli means time herself, who art blessed, prosperous time, time as unfolding in a bountiful way. It's said that this bija dedicated to her has the power to grant victory. The mantra is Am Chang Bhadrakālyai Namah, which means Chum, salutations to she who art blessed time. I've added some pronunciation pointers in the International Alphabet of Sanskrit Transliteration. The O, A, I, these are all long vowels. At the very end of the mantra, we have an H with a dot under it that's known as the Visarga. It's a mini expulsion of breath. Namah. Then there's another H in front of the B. Same thing with the Cha. It's breathy, it's an aspirated B. Ba, ba, ba. And finally, there's an M with a dot under it at the end of these two bijas, these seed syllables. It's a pure nasalization known as an anuswara. You can hear overtones when you do it properly, which is very beautiful. One more time. Am Chang Bhadrakālyai Namah. We'll be chanting 108 times, and to keep track of that, we'll use the use of this yogic technology called prayer beads or rosary, or in Sanskrit a mala. It has 108 beads, so we just have to feel our way all the way around from the guru bead back to the guru bead again, because the guru tells us where to start meditating and when to stop. So that bead at the top will be our guru. Chang Bhadrakāli Namah. Chang Bhadrakāli Namah. Chang Bhadrakāli Namah. Chang Bhadrakāli Namah. Cham 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 Bhadrakālyai 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 Namah. Chang Bhadrakāli Namaha. 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 Salutations to Blessed Time herself. May we meditate in silence for a few moments to feel the after effects of the reverberations of this mantra. May we feel that through time, victory is bestowed. Thank you for chanting and meditating with us. That concludes our Nididhyasana, the final portion of our Sangha. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Kira, for the heart me that you sent. Sarva Mangalaya Namah. Thank you, Helena, for another quintet of roses. Jwala Malinyai Nama. Dear Dream Traveler, thank you for your heartbeat. Bhairavarudhuraya Maharudhuraya Kalarudhuraya Kalpantarudhuraya Virarudhuraya Rudrarudhuraya Ghorarudhuraya Martanda. You know what, I'm going to start that one from the top. Bhairavarudhuraya Maharudhuraya Kalarudhuraya Kalpantarudhuraya Virarudhuraya Rudrarudhuraya Ghorarudhuraya Aghorarudhuraya Martanda Rudhuraya Anda Rudhuraya Brahmanda Rudhuraya Chanda Rudhuraya Shura Rudhuraya Vira Rudhuraya Bhava Rudhuraya Bhima Rudhuraya Atala Rudhuraya Vitala Rudhuraya Sutala Rudhuraya Mahatala Rudhuraya Rasatala Rudhuraya Talitala Rudhuraya Patala Rudhuraya Namo Namaha. Thank you, dear fairy. Thank you, Anisak, for your finger heart. Sadyojatam prapadyami sadyojataya vai namo namah. Bhave bhave nati bhave bhavaswamam bhavodbhavaya namah. Dear Tina, thank you for your heartbeat. Vamadevaya namo jeshtaya namah shoreshtaya namo rudhraya namah kalaya namah kalavikarnaya namo balaya namo balavikarnaya namo balapramathanaya namah sarva bhuta daminaya namo manonmanaya namah. Thank you to my lovely moderators who help keep the peace. Much love to you, dearest G to infinity. If there's anything I can do to make this space more inclusive for you or anyone next time, please let me know, everyone. I hope to be a more humble host for you, and you can hold me accountable to that. May this live stream be an offering to the divinity within you. Aseto ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma mritangamaya. Shanti shanti shanti. Hari Tat Sat. Lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to the light, from death to deathlessness. May there be peace in us, may there be peace in our environment, and may there be peace in the forces that act on us. Much love, dear Dansuela Priya. Thank you, dear Roxy and Dean. Hello and goodbye, dear Nimax, faithful being. Namaskara, dear Anisak, Birmingham Bro, Dancing Aurora Borealis, Hajar. Thank you, Birmingham Bro, for your heartbeat. Aghorebhyota, ghorebhyo, aghora ghore tarebhyah. Sarvata Sharva Sarvebhyo Namaste Rudra Rupebhya. No filter, dear faithful being. Just getting more sunlight lately. And when you make the inside world beautiful, the outside world begins to reflect that inner beauty too. Thank you, everyone. May you all have a wonderful rest of your present moment. Namaste.